about it, and I don't want to hold it on too long.
Yeah, the last point I want to. Okay. Yeah.
We're back. We're back. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but we were kind of in the middle of that Michigan USC game. Rich, I know you said you had one more point to kind of add to that.
Yeah, last point. I think Michigan consolidating to one quarterback and figuring out their identity with Orgy back there. Like they're going to run the ball, play defense instead of trying to throw the ball around, kind of like what they were doing the first couple of games. I think that really it's going to get them a lot of wins. Maybe they're not going to be a top tier team that's in the playoffs, but it could put them in contention for the playoffs. Realistically, I mean, their
Yeah.
schedule is not the worst, so we'll
Yeah,
see how in the long run that plays out for them.
I
But
mean,
I like that they consolidated to one quarterback.
yeah.
yeah, I agree. That's a good point. I want to move on now to this next game we talked about, Utah and Oklahoma State. It's a pretty big game that everyone was kind of thinking about. I think for me, the concern I had was, hey, if Utah has Cam Rising, I think they win. If they don't have Cam Rising, I don't think they win. I don't think their offense will be that great. I don't know how well they're going to be able to stop Ollie Gordon. But if their defense can hold Ollie Gordon, they might have a chance on just winning without. That kind of turned out to be what the game was. Cam Rising ended up not playing. Ollie Gordon kind of got held in check, which he has been the whole season. I don't really know what's going on with that team. I don't really know what's going on with their style of play, what they're doing right now. What they're doing is not winning them games. So they're going to have to switch some things up because this Utah team's pretty beat up and they still look pretty strong in this game, in my opinion. Especially against an Oklahoma State team that has a really good defense. That game was drunk at some points, though, right? So there was like three turnovers back to back to
Yeah.
back. There
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
fumble, a interception, a fumble, interception, like right before the half. It was super, super exciting, though. I mean, that was a really fun game to watch. But both these teams, in my opinion, are not the caliber of teams that are going to go and win a national championship. But I think Utah could still get into the playoff and play really well. But I don't think they're going to be teams that anyone is really going to have to worry about later in the season. Um, Last game was the Tennessee Oklahoma game. For me, I felt really comfortable in saying I think Tennessee's going to win by 10 plus points. And there's one of my best bets of the week. They were only favored by 7. I think it went all the way down to like 5 or something right before the
Hmm.
game. They turned out to win by 10, and I think it could have been a little bit more than that as well. And I really think that Nico had a great game when it came down to him just game managing. He wasn't really trying to force wins. And like he did in the NC State game, like I was kind of nervous about was, is he going to come in here and is he going to just get a little loose with it and kind of throw this ball? Now, he did get a little loose sometimes and he did fumble 2 times. Or was it a fumble both
Yeah.
times?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He
fumbled
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 two
twice.
twice.
times. And then the next play, Jackson Arnold fumbled. So
Yeah.
that happened 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that twice. If you turn Tennessee over, you better be getting some points because Nico's going to still come the whole game. He's only making these little mistakes, right? He's not making these huge
Yeah.
mistakes. But Jackson Arnold, it felt like his mistakes meant so much more, right? Like every mistake he made, it was like, God, that's just going to hurt him so much. Every time Nico made a mistake, I was like, okay, well, I think Tennessee's defense is still going to be able to hold this,
Yep.
even if it's to a field goal. And then they would turn him over the next play. And it wasn't even like they were doing anything. Jackson Arnold was just messing up, but they
Yeah.
were giving them really good field position. Like Tennessee got pretty good field position 3 or 4 times in that game because of some mistakes they made. So Jackson Arnold ends up getting pulled from the game. They put in that true freshman who played actually pretty damn good
Yeah.
for coming in your first game as a true freshman. I mean, you're playing against a great defense in Tennessee, and you actually put some points on the board. It didn't look as bad as it could have looked. So pretty exciting when it comes to that. For them, they can have the mind to be like, okay, well, we probably have a chance now to at least win some of these games that we didn't think we were going to win with Jackson Arnold. And now we have this new kid. So I think it's be really cool to see. I think Tennessee is still the team to be kind of nervous about, either if you're going away or having them in your house, because obviously them going away did not scare them at all. And
Hmm.
Oklahoma is a pretty daunting stadium. So, Brendan, you got any points for this one?
I mean, I thought this game could have actually been really good if Oklahoma's offense wasn't so bad. I mean, really, really bad. And they had great opportunities. I mean, one of those fumbles on Nico, Nico, I'm just gonna say that.
Mm.
One of them was what on Tennessee's own 3 yard line?
Yeah.
Like,
And then he
and then
fumbled the next
Jackson
play.
Arnold, yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's a touchdown right there that you could have had.
Yep.
And so it's just this game could have been really, really good. I mean, Tennessee had 10 penalties for 82 yards, but I do think, like you were speaking on, Zach, I think Josh Heupel really pulled it back once they realized how bad Oklahoma's offense was doing. I
They
think
just
he was
game
kind of just
managed.
like,
They
yeah,
just
he was
game
just like,
managed.
okay, let's not do anything else to give them the ball back. Let's just, run the ball, waste some clock, try to get out of this game with a good win. And that's what they did at the end of the day. I mean, Oklahoma's all, I mean, I feel bad for their defense because their defense is really good.
Oklahoma's
Like, I
defense is
mean,
good, and I
yeah,
knew that coming into this game, everyone's like, "Yeah, Oklahoma's defense has looked bad this year. It hasn't looked great," which makes sense. Yeah, but when you look at them against these really good teams and how Brent Venables is as a coach and how
yeah,
he knows how to dial shit up, they were dialing shit up that whole first half against
yeah.
Nico. They made Nico
It's
look very nervous in that whole first half, so they had chances to win this game. They had an ample opportunity. Their
yeah.
defensive line was getting there. Their linebackers were playing great. The coverage was good. So we weren't seeing a lot of mistakes when it came to Oklahoma's defense. It was just their offense. You couldn't move the ball.
Yeah, it's hard to be great for an entire game when your
Right.
offense
Yeah.
is going 3 and out all the time, turning the ball back over. Like it's tough to just hold and to hold Tennessee to 25 points. I mean, at the end of the day, is incredible in itself. Like they've scored 65 points a game this year. Like they
And
only scored
even
25.
with them pulling the reins back
Yeah,
to chew clock and stuff, that's still holding them
yeah,
because they still were trying to hit those explosive plays. Don't think
Yeah.
they weren't. Just because they were pulling the reins back a little bit doesn't mean they didn't try still
yeah.
to hit at least one or two of those extra plays, and they did hit them
Hmm.
sometimes. So they weren't pulling the reins back completely, but it was dialed back to where he wasn't throwing over the middle every
Yeah,
damn play, you
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
And Rich, you got anything on this one?
Yeah. So on that note, TOP, 35 minutes Tennessee, 24 minutes Oklahoma. That's kind of all you need to hear. I think Tennessee played a really, really good game, and it puts them on watch in my note. That's the first time I've really like sat there and like intently watched Tennessee because the NC State game was over at half. Their wide receivers are huge. There
Yeah.
are some big wide receivers. They have a two-headed snake in the backfield. They look good
Hmm.
in the backfield. And then Nico, if he can just reduce turnovers, I think that team can take on almost anybody in the country. And then the other point was we were talking last week, is Jackson Arnold ready for the spotlight? Um, that was a
Yeah.
quick no.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a
But
quick no.
Buddy will be
Um,
transferring out at the end of this year.
yeah,
Yeah,
he'll.
I wanted to make that point too. Is like, man, they really
They hyped him up
they really let
hard.
Dylan Gabriel, like they didn't even
Yeah,
try to get Dylan Gabriel to stay. They were like, you know what, we're good, dude. Go
quarterback of the future.
wherever you want. We got this guy. And oh
They made
man.
Jackson Arnold t-shirts after Dylan Gabriel left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw them bitches in
Um,
the trash.
hey, and also on another point, Zach, you kind of just glossed over that Utah Oklahoma State game. I just wanted to bring up the fact that Oklahoma State only had the ball for 17 and a half minutes in that game. Utah had that ball for 42 and a half minutes of the 60
Where is
minutes in
Ollie
that football.
Gordon? What, like, you
Like
knew
that
your
is
Dude, I'm
offense was
telling
gonna
crazy.
you,
run through Ollie
they
Gordon.
can't run the
That is
ball.
crazy. Yeah, he only had 42 yards or something?
Did I not
I
let you guys talk after that in that
No,
segment?
no, you
you
just
just
skipped right
I
over
you
it.
just
went
Fuck
like,
us,
skipped.
I guess. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
on me. I thought
Yeah.
I completely
Yeah.
was like, yeah, we're done with that. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were both gonna hit on though. It's like
Yeah.
Ollie Gordon, what the hell is going on? Because
Yeah.
you knew they have to run through him. He's like he was a Heisman finalist last year, and he has what, averaging 42 yards a game
Yeah,
with like,
I feel bad for him, dude. It's because like I wish he was a
I
junior
don't think
last
he
year
was in
so
the
he could have
Heisman finalist though, but he did
he
win the
was
best running
close.
back
Yeah. I mean,
award.
he was probably top like 6 finalists if I had to guess.
he
You
Well,
know,
had
he's probably just off
he
the
won the
Doak
running back
Walker one.
award.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he won the Doak Walker, which makes sense. I don't think he was in the Heisman because it was all quarterbacks. It was
yeah, it
Yeah.
was all quarterbacks
He
with
was,
Marvin
yeah, he
Harrison.
wasn't in the top three, yeah, but he was probably right outside that top three.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
still
But
but
like,
yeah,
still.
it just sucks. Like his draft stock is just going, like, I mean,
Mhm. Well, I don't know if it's is it him or is it the offensive line or like it kind of looks like both, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't really
As
know.
an offensive line,
Um,
you have to just know you're going to hand the ball to Ollie Gordon
but
and
that's the thing
figure out
though.
how to block.
But as a defense, you got to think about this, guys. Last year, not everyone really knew about like how Ollie Gordon was gonna play, and they
Yeah.
also had a decent quarterback, right?
It's the same
So,
quarterback. Alan
Well,
Bowman's been there for 35 years.
Alan Bowman
but,
got benched in this game
but
too.
he got benched, yeah, right,
Yeah, he did. But he came back in the fourth quarter. That's how they scored those last two touchdowns. They benched him in I think at halftime because he was like 7 for 22 with like 80
right.
yards. And then they let that other quarterback play for the third and half of the fourth. And they were like, all right, Bowman, you're back in. And they somehow scored two
For some
touchdowns.
reason, I thought I didn't see that correctly. Maybe I was watching the other game because obviously I think that was the same time as one of the other games we're watching. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw that whole game fully, but looking at some of the highlights on it and just the box score in general, and obviously the time possession, which you mentioned,
Hmm.
Brennan, just like a huge thing.
Yeah, that's
When you
insane.
when you
I don't
control the
know.
game that much and you only give them the ball, and that they couldn't have had the ball more than like consistently and held the ball. That could have been like 2 or 3 drives probably. That was
Oh,
that
yeah.
time period basically. But other than that, it was probably three and out, three and out, three and out,
Oh
three and out.
yeah, I looked at the like play-by-play thing. It was their first 6 drives in the second half. 5 out of the 6 were three and outs. Only one of them, and they had 6 plays on one of the other drives. And then I think their drive after that was like an interception or a fumble or something. So it was just it was awful, dude. I was looking at
Right.
that play-by-play. It was like, oh my God.
That's awful.
Yeah.
But I think we're good with that, right, guys? You good to
Yep.
go to
Yeah,
the
we
next
don't want
one?
to talk about Oklahoma State anymore.
Yeah, they're
Awesome.
awful.
So I want to go to the Louisville game, Louisville Notre Dame. This is one of the games of the week for us. It's a really exciting game. Obviously, we know how not Vanderbilt, sorry, Notre Dame kind of fell a little bit when it came to that Northern Illinois game. Obviously, Northern Illinois just lost to fucking Buffalo, so it doesn't look great for Notre Dame still. But we understand that sometimes these teams and teams in general have lapses in how they play, and they didn't play up to their par. Okay, but Notre Dame's been playing pretty good since then, I guess. So we'll see how they play against Louisville. Louisville's been playing great. They haven't really played anybody besides Georgia Tech last week, and they handled Georgia Tech. We also talked a little bit about that Georgia Tech game before it last week, and just hit on it. I think during our best bets part of the podcast. I don't think that we thought Tech was going to stay in this game. I thought that it was going to be 31-19. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than that. But Louisville kind of looked like they handled the game. And with the Notre Dame game specifically, I honestly haven't watched a lot of Notre Dame. I watched a little bit of that Northern Illinois game. They beat the shit out of Purdue, and they have played Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
So not a lot to go from, in my opinion, on like how they're going to do now because they beat Texas A&M. But I really don't think Texas A&M is that great. They might be on upset alert this week.
Yeah.
So we can look at it like that. But Brendan, you have anything on Notre Dame, or
Um,
Louisville?
I mean, just looking at this, man, I think Louisville's obviously the more consistent team. I mean, to beat Notre Dame and somehow lose to Northern Illinois is crazy in itself. And Notre Dame has shown that, I think outside of the Purdue game, Texas A&M, it was a slow first half start. This past week against Miami of Ohio was slow. I don't think they even scored in the first quarter. I think they ended up getting 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, but I mean, you can't against a team like Louisville. They got a pretty high powered offense, and they also have a quarterback that doesn't turn over the ball. And Tyler Shaw, he's got 8 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. So, I mean, you get down early against this Louisville team. I mean, you got the home crowd on your side, but with Notre Dame's offense, man, they get down, they try to start forcing things. It's not within their game plan. It can go downhill quick, I think. So, I think if Notre Dame wants to win this, I think they got to get ahead early and force Louisville into that position on the road. But I think if Louisville grabs an early lead, I think it'll be tough for Notre Dame to come back.
Yep. How is Notre Dame's defense going to come out? Because I mean, it's looked pretty strong all year.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a big time of possession game for Notre Dame. If they can handle time of possession, I think they'll at least be able to stay in it, if not win. But the real question is how good is Louisville? Because I feel like no one knows. I mean, they're smacking bad teams, which is what great teams do. But now that you're playing Notre Dame at Notre Dame, Notre Dame has to walk this tightrope. So
Mhm.
if
If
they don't,
Louisville can stop the run, we know that they can
yeah,
stop the run or
it's
at least
over.
manage it. They
It's
can
over.
manage the run. That's what they do. So if they can manage Notre Dame's run game, I think it'll be a closer game and Louisville could pull it out. I already think that Louisville could win this game just in general, but if they can really just negate their Notre Dame's run game, I don't think it'll be close.
And
Honestly.
Exactly.
hey,
Yeah.
this also has, I mean, this is early playoff implications for Notre Dame. Like they don't win this game, they're out for
I don't
sure.
think they're in
exactly.
anyway.
I
No,
mean,
they have to walk a tightrope to get in.
No,
They have
I
to
I
think
win
think
I
they
don't.
could
I
get
think
in.
even with them losing to Northern Illinois, I think that they're probably not going to be in.
I mean, if they run the table for the rest of, if they beat Louisville on the way, Georgia Tech ain't bad. That's a good win. And then they play USC last game of the year. Like if they beat all those
Okay, they
teams,
beat
and
they beat
also,
USC. They beat
yeah,
USC. That makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those are not bad teams, but still, it's
yeah,
like
On
I
a
mean,
tightrope.
if you lose any of those games,
yeah,
you
Exactly.
for
lose.
sure.
Yep.
You can't lose one more game. Now,
Yeah.
before they lost to Northern Illinois, if they would have lost that USC game, maybe, and maybe they slip up
Hmm.
against Louisville,
That's fine.
maybe you get in, maybe.
But
But now it's a
NIU,
definite no. Like doubt, and it's a
Yeah.
definite no if you lose another game. Also, I was talking about that Texas A&M and Arkansas game a little bit. This isn't one of the games of the week. I just wanted to mention it. I really, really think that Arkansas could win this game. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a battle. I think the over could hit. I mean, it's only 52 points, and both these offenses are pretty damn good.
I know.
So I think the over could actually hit in that game. Just a
Yeah, it could.
suggestion.
just a little
Yeah.
side bet, a little sprinkle.
But yeah, so I want to go. Brennan, you don't like that one? You don't think the over could hit in that game?
I
Both
mean,
those offenses are explosive.
I just thinking back to Josh Pate being so confident that Auburn, Arkansas over, and it wasn't even close.
Everything was in place if Auburn
Yeah,
didn't
but
turn the
but
ball
who knew
over
that Auburn was
45
going to
times.
throw 7 picks? Like
Yeah.
holy shit. I mean, still they didn't score like points off of every time they did that, but still. Next game, Penn State, Illinois. Talk about this game a little bit. Illinois has definitely exceeded expectations for a lot of people. I think Penn State's done that as well. For me, I still don't really love Penn State. Don't think they're that great, but whatever.
Yeah.
We'll keep watching them and keep saying that
Keep
they're
acting
great.
like they're great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Is Bowling Green kind of
Hey,
good?
hey, shout out
Like,
Bowling
Yeah,
Green,
maybe.
bro. They
because
just held Texas A&M
Bowling
to-
Green just held Texas A&M to like 26 points and scored 20. So they almost, I mean, they could have pulled that game out, and they were only down 7, or
Yeah.
they only lost to Penn State by 7. So, I mean,
Bowling
I don't
Green
know.
needs to give
Bowling Green
themselves
might
an
be
easier
good.
damn schedule.
Hey, the Pac-12. Put them in the Pac-12.
Yeah, put them in the AAC.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about this game. The spread, I think, is super high. I think it's like 19 or something.
Yep, 18 and a half. Yeah.
That's just not a lot of respect for Illinois. Now, do they think, I don't know, is it the fact that they don't think Illinois can actually stop Penn State's offense at all?
Yeah, it's so hard to stop Drew Aller.
The problem is that they struggled a lot against Kansas.
Yeah.
So when it came to giving up points,
Illinois?
so that's, yeah.
No. We only gave up 17 points to Kansas.
Only scored 23. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a great game. What I'm
No,
saying
I
is
think
like,
yeah.
what I'm saying is their defense didn't play a great game. Their offense had to take control of it. So, I mean, in that sense, yeah, they only scored 17. But if your team's only scoring 20 to 23 points a game,
Yeah.
you're going to have a problem there.
Yeah.
Now, they beat Nebraska last week, which was really nice. They played against a freshman quarterback. They made him look like a freshman at sometimes. So that was great for them. Their coach is really good. I like their coach a lot. So I think he's great. I really like their quarterback. I think he's played phenomenally. Where was Altmaier at previously? Wasn't he somewhere else?
Yeah, he was, but I think he's been there for 2 years, I
Yeah,
believe.
2, I think.
Yeah, this is his second year at Illinois. I can't remember where he was before. Rich, you want to look
I'd
it up
love to
real
know.
quick?
Yeah,
It was
I'm
Ole
on it.
Miss. Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He has a red
Okay.
jersey on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he played really well. I mean, 200 something yards, 4 touchdowns. Played extremely well against this Nebraska defense. That is pretty good defense.
Mhm.
And last week they held a first round quarterback, and didn't let him do shit against them. So this Illinois defense looked good, I would say, for the most part, but they struggled at times. So I'm kind of conflicted on the Illinois defense and if they could hold Penn State's offense, because I don't know who's more explosive. I don't know if Nebraska's more explosive or if Penn State's more explosive. So I don't know if you guys have better thoughts on it than I do. But I think they held Nebraska's rushing game to like under 70 yards or something.
Yeah, and they got after the quarterback too. So,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like their defense looked pretty damn good to me, and Nebraska's offensive line isn't a pushover. Pretty damn good offensive line. So I don't know. You guys kind of take it away and tell me what you think about the game as well.
No, I definitely like Illinois' defense. I mean, they forced 4 or 5 turnovers against Kansas. They had a pick against Dylan Raiola. I mean, I think that's what's kind of holding them together, but they're almost like a Iowa, It's like they got good defense, but their offense is just slugging them down. They get a good stop, and then their offense goes out and goes 3 and out, and then the defense has to come right back out on the field. So I actually like their defense, and Penn State has definitely not been impressive this year. I mean, they only beat West Virginia by 13 points or so. They really, I mean, yeah, they just beat the hell out of Kent State, but Kent State might be the worst football team in college football. So I mean, this is Penn State at home, so I think with it being a
Do we
ranked
take Illinois
matchup.
plus the points?
I mean, that's a
all I'm
lot of
saying.
points.
Wait
That's
till
kind of
best
what I'm.
bets.
That's kind of what I'm
Like
running.
I know, but dude, that's 19. That's 19
Yeah.
points against an Illinois
19.
team that's like I
I'll
don't even think they've given
spoil
up
it.
19 all season.
Yeah.
Have they
Yeah,
even given
no.
up 19 all season? Yeah, they gave up 24 last week to Nebraska, but still, like,
Yeah.
they've been playing pretty well. So
Yeah, no, I mean that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the same boat. They played really well against Dylan Raiola, mini Patrick Mahomes. I like, they made him look like a freshman at some points. He threw a pick. Their run defense was pretty good. They got after the quarterback. I think they had 4 or 5 sacks. And I think the key to this game is making Drew Aller throw the ball 30 times. I mean, we know
Yeah.
how much we hate Drew Aller on this podcast. So
the only concern about that is like with Illinois specifically is they looked like they were in control of that whole game, really. And then they go to overtime with Nebraska. It's like, damn, dude, like y'all pretty much had control of that game and you kind of lost it. So in those close games, can they win him? Like, can they beat Penn State if it's a close game like the USC Michigan was at the very end? They got to go down there and score real quick with like under 2 minutes left. Let's see if they can
win wise, I for sure I think Penn State's going to be able to hang on because their talent versus Illinois' talent is just 2 different levels. But I do think Penn State's starting to get some of that like Ohio State hype out of nowhere, where everybody just thinks they're good for
not for me.
But what reason?
I
don't know. I don't know why people think they're good. I mean,
I think they're good. I think they're good. Don't get me wrong.
They're good, but they're not great.
They're better than most teams. I mean, there's 133 teams, right? They're better than probably 90% of these teams.
Yeah,
to be honest.
But
I definitely like Illinois to cover that spread though. Easily.
But I like Illinois to cover the spread because I think that Illinois' offense is going to be able to score.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you have to think about, right? You got to think about, can Illinois score against this Penn State defense? If you think yes, then they're probably going to cover because 19 points is a lot for any team to cover, and especially
and can Drew Aller score 19 points?
Can Drew Aller throw the fucking ball? We don't know.
And Illinois and Altmaier, dude, he hasn't thrown a pick all year. So if they hang on to the ball and get some keep time of possession good and even, 19 and a half points is a lot to cover. Yeah.
Hang on, Nitty Lidens.
Right, exactly. All right. Let's go to this next game. Not a big deal or anything, but it's the Georgia-Alabama game. So everyone's pretty excited for this. I know me and Brennan specifically, 2 of your co-hosts, are fans of these teams. We both went to Georgia though, but he is an Alabama fan. So
you gotta bust me out like
I had
that.
To throw that one in there. Yeah,
he did graduate from Georgia because he knows that degree is better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kind of diving straight into the game specifically. I've watched a lot of tape this week. I've looked at a lot of people discuss this game. I've thought about this game myself. I'm really torn because I've been let down so many times when playing Alabama specifically, just on the fact of, we just haven't been able to pull it out against them. We did the national championship that one year, which was our first championship in years, which was super exciting for us. But, since then we lost to them again. And before that, we lost to them, I think 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So, and 3 of them were pretty big scenarios. So, and Nick Saban's not there, right? And that's the main talk is going to be, okay, Nick Saban's not there anymore. They gotta beat him without Nick Saban, bro. Caitlin DeBoer fucking good. Okay, so
Yeah.
so that's like I think that conversation's kind of stupid. It's like Nick Saban's not there, yeah, but Kalen DeBoer's there, and he's 12-2 against ranked teams. So what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Kirby Smart obviously has the edge when it comes to bigger games, and playing in these bigger games, which totally makes sense. But now that he's at Alabama and he has that talent, that he's always needed, and he was still winning without the talent, right?
Yeah, DeBoer was
But
winning
now
last
he's
year with no talent, basically.
well,
Well,
I
not no
mean, I wouldn't
talent,
say no
but
talent.
he had a little bit of talent
He had 3 NFL players on that team,
comparatively.
Yeah, I think more than that.
or 4, I
Comparatively,
think 4 on the offense that were like
Mhm.
playmakers. So like,
yeah.
you really can't say he didn't have any. Yeah, 2 first rounders, which is pretty a lot
But
of talent.
compared
And
to
then
like Oregon or something, is what I'm saying. He had his talent level was lower than teams that he played last year. Some of the teams that he played in big games.
but I do think that the quarterback and having those wide
Yeah,
receivers and the running back they had, I think it evened out the playing field a little bit because a lot of those offenses are playing based on skilled positions, not really
exactly.
the
Yeah,
trenches as much. So that was the big difference. And you saw how it kind of turned out for them when they played someone who ran the
yeah.
trenches well, right? So, but yeah, so he's got the talent now. And I want to look at Georgia a little bit. Georgia's been dealing with injuries. So a lot of their defensive line's been banged up, especially 2 of our best D linemen. Michael Williams, first round, probably first pick overall. Those are the talks of him, at least top 3 pick. We don't know if he's going to play. Kirby had a press conference today, talked about they're not really sure if he's going to be able to go, but think he might be. He's kind of getting closer. When it comes to Warren Brinson, he is a little bit injured still, but he's coming back, so we'll see. But that's the thing with Georgia is like we really don't know how their defensive line is going to be. Even though I think the defensive line's played really well, Jalen Walker looks like, he before last season I think people thought he was going to be like a 3rd, 4th round pick. Now with how he's played, he's got like first round pick vibes coming from a lot of the NFL scouts. So if you have 2 first round guys playing on your defensive line, that can make a huge impact, right? So if Michael and Jalen Walker are playing, especially against Jesus Christ, I'm blanking. But yeah, especially against Alabama and how they play, that's going to be super, super exciting for Georgia. But all in all, I think that Georgia really has to limit Milroe's explosive plays. And if they can keep him in the pocket or keep those plays to a minimum, I think that Georgia will be able to score points and win this game. But the problem is, because I do think that Alabama's secondary is super young and has some holes in it that Georgia can exploit. Don't get me wrong, Georgia has some holes in their secondary that Alabama can exploit as well. But that's why I think that if you can hold him in the pocket, if you can hold Jalen Milroe in that pocket and make him think and make him double tap that ball, you might be able to make him make mistakes. And
Yeah.
that's what Georgia's going to have to make him do is make those mistakes, fumble, throw a pick, do shit like that. Because if you get in his head, he's in it. Okay. And he struggles. So let's see how we play against them. Brendan, you're going to have some points on this. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, this game it has always been and always will be who executes better and who makes least mistakes. I mean, the talent matchup is always
Yep.
the same. I mean, both teams are freaking fully loaded of 5 and 4 stars. It really just comes down to the X's and O's and who executes better and who doesn't mess up. So, I mean, I know I definitely think this way. I mean, I have no idea who's going to win, honestly. I think it's just wait till you see what happens. I would love for us. I mean, I know last year we really dominated on the line of scrimmage, which was kind of a surprise to everybody. So can Alabama do that again? I'm not sure. I mean, if injuries are kind of hurting that Georgia defensive line, that might help our case because our offensive line is finally fully healthy. I know I'm a little concerned about Quay Russaw on our defensive side of the ball. Dude is an absolute freak, and he went down in the Wisconsin game. He's still questionable at the moment,
What was
but
that? Was that a concussion?
no, that was Malachi Moore.
Oh, okay.
He was concussed, but he should definitely be good to go. I mean, 2 weeks,
Yeah,
you're good
yeah,
to go.
yeah, yeah. He'll
So,
be fine.
but yeah, Quay Russaw, he had a low, I think it was an ankle, something with his ankle or so. So he's still questionable as of right now. But no, man, I'm watching what Georgia did against Kentucky. I was a little more, felt a little bit better. I was like, okay, they got some weak spots on that offense. But I mean, dude, It's gonna be great as always. Probably the greatest game of the season. It will always be one of the best games of the season. God, I had one thing I wanted to say about it, but I can't think about it. Oh, Donald Trump's gonna be there. Hell yeah. But no, I mean, gonna be a hell of a game. I'm excited to watch it. I think, this game for Alabama, I'd say, doesn't matter as much if we lose because we have a little bit of easier schedule than Georgia does moving forward. I mean, it's not easy by any means, but a little bit easier. But if Georgia loses this game, they got a tough road ahead of them to win the rest of their games, and
We
get
have a
into the playoff.
gauntlet this season.
Yeah.
A gauntlet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. Rich,
Look at
you got
y'all.
anything?
Y'all being unbiased. That was some good unbiased analysis from you two. No, you didn't have any slights towards each other.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, no, I think the question comes down to, can Alabama sustain their drives, or are they just a deep shot offense? I'm excited, really excited to see Ryan Williams go up against these cornerbacks because that dude is a baller.
Dude, if I was Georgia, I would
Triple
have,
team his ass.
no,
dude,
I would have Malachi Starks on him
with
and
safety
follow
over
him
top.
around. I'd have him follow him around the whole game, and I'd
Yeah.
have KJ Bolden over the top. That's
Yeah.
what the fuck I would do. And I would just fucking wait. I would fucking dare that motherfucker to throw the ball. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that kid's a
Because-
baller, and you got to make Milrow at least have a second read, and not
Yeah.
just, okay, Ryan Williams open, let me lob it to him.
I know one thing. Georgia's going to come after that ass. We're
Yeah.
going to send
Oh,
the
yeah.
house on his shit a lot.
Yep.
Like,
And then Georgia's got to
and
win in the
if
trenches.
if I'm Georgia, and if the shit that I've been seeing on like defense of, or like the films of how Alabama plays their offense, dude, when y'all go out to empty, when there's no one in the back and you just go empty, it's either going to be a quarterback draw or it's going to be a deep shot to Ryan Williams.
Yep.
Ain't no in between, dog. Ain't no 5-yard pass if they're going empty. It's going to either be a deep ass shot or it's going to be a quarterback draw. So if I see them getting empty, I'm going, hey, fucking engage 8. We're sending everybody. I'm
Yeah.
sending everybody, and I'm having my cornerbacks and safeties stay back. And that's. But yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be super exciting to see. I mean, me and Brennan are going to a friend's house out of town to watch the game together. So super excited for that. And just
Will boxing gloves be available to you guys?
we don't need boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Zach will just send you his best friend.
Bare knuckle. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's gonna be super exciting. I think it's super funny that Georgia struggled a little bit against SEC team, and we went
Yeah,
down so
and
much
you know
for the
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
opinions.
indicative of how this game's gonna go at
That
all,
was
right?
that was the other point I wanted to make was like y'all remember last year when Auburn lost to New Mexico State right before Alabama game, and I was like, y'all were like, dude, y'all are gonna steamroll them, and I was like, no, because actually that just pissed them off. Now they're about to make this a good game. That's how I feel about Georgia struggling against Kentucky, dropping in the rankings. That was everything Kirby Smart needed to go into this game.
Can I give 1 point? Because if this happens like I think it's gonna happen, and Georgia does what I think the game will turn out in Georgia's favor.
Yeah.
If you watch that Kentucky game specifically, and you look at some of those plays that look busted, or some of the plays that kind of stopped our drive and held it in check, a lot of the problems weren't coming from Carson Beck. It was mainly coming from our blocking on the perimeter, our wide receivers blocking, our tight ends blocking, and they were just missing blocks. But if a lot of those blocks were hit, there's a lot of touchdowns there. So I think if Georgia can execute like they need to on the perimeter and get those blocks, I think that Georgia could win this game pretty handedly, because I think we'll be able to run the ball as well. Yeah. So this is gonna be a tough game though, dude. Like Alabama's got an amazing offense. Right. They have a great running back, so it's gonna be tough.
Rich's final take on the game before we go into best bets.
Oh, I have to have my final take.
Yeah. What do you think wins, dude? Obviously, you know who we think.
I'm leaning Georgia in this game. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think with Alabama's secondary, I think Carson Beck's about to just shred it.
Yeah,
I think he's going to rip that thing. Hey, it's his Heisman season. Here's your Heisman moment, early.
I think his Heisman season's going past after that Kentucky game.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever, you gotta
you
win it
know what's
back.
crazy? He still has more passing yards than Jalen Murrow, which is wild. But
Oh, well, we
I
only
mean,
we only we only have to throw the ball 12 times
Zach
a
had
game.
that stat ready.
I mean, he does. He's like it was like 100 something more yards than him, and he's literally had like 0 yards against Kentucky. So like,
Yeah. Well,
he basically took a game off.
we also only throw the ball 10 times a game. Jalen Murray has 14 touchdowns.
Yeah. He throws 12 times a game, and every single one of them are 50-yard shots.
Yeah.
You never are throwing the ball 5 yards, or if you are, it's a slant that's
Works.
wide dick open because there's no safety.
Here we go.
Eight touchdown passes and 6 rushing touchdowns. That's a Heisman number to me.
Starting early.
Dude,
All right.
I'm telling you, Jalen Murrow is fucking good. He is scary. He's a scary ass quarterback.
Yeah.
But if you can keep him in check and keep those explosive plays down, because he's gonna hit them, right? They're gonna hit the explosive plays. It's gonna happen. You got to be able to be punched in the mouth and stop them, right? Let them hit that explosive play. Yeah, that's cool. Now they're on the 30. Stop them. No score. They have to kick a field goal. If you can hold them to that shit and keep that down, you don't let them score when they hit their explosives. You just let them get their yards and then hold them in the red zone. Georgia, we've been doing this shit for a long ass time with people. We let you hit your explosives and then you got to kick a field goal because you can't go anywhere because you get boxed in. Because there's a damn sideline behind us that you can't cross. So
go no, sick 'em.
So we'll see.
All right.
Let's go into best bets. I'm gonna be so honest. I ain't even looked at a bet. So it's gonna be y'all first, and I'm gonna look while we're doing this.
Oh man, dude, I'm kind of looking right now too.
Beej, you went 2-0 this last week,
I
right?
did go 2-0 last week. I think for the
Hey,
first
dude,
time
if you want to
ever.
go, if you want to go
I think for the
50-50,
first time ever.
you better pick with me because I'm going 1-1 every week. Okay, one of my shit's gonna hit. You better just pick the right one.
I was looking, man. There was one I saw I liked. Oh, you know what? I am definitely going to take Kansas State -4.5 at home against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, not a good football team. I don't think they're a good football team. I mean, obviously Kansas State was ugly against BYU, but they are 10 times better team at home. Oklahoma State.
So you're taking Kansas State -4.5?
Yes, Kansas State -4.5. And then we are going to go. What was the other one I saw? Let's see. Gosh, man, these are not easy.
Dude, I feel like this shit should be
There's
getting
some weird
easier, but it's
games.
getting harder.
I'll go
fucking
ahead. I'll give y'all some time.
Yeah.
All right,
Fine,
I'm
you
going
go ahead.
Illinois +18. We were talking about it earlier. Illinois' defenses look pretty damn good, and I don't know how good Penn State is because they do this shit every year with Penn State where they win one game against a team that should be a D3 school, and then they act like Penn State should be 21-point favorites on everybody. So I don't think that line's right. So I'm going to take Illinois.
Guys, Oklahoma's a 1-point favorite against Auburn.
Oklahoma. Yeah, well, what's that
what
quarterback?
The fuck?
And then my other, we went 1-1 on over-unders last week, and I think we should have hit the other under on the Michigan USC game if USC could stop the damn run.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Louisville Notre Dame under 46.5. I think Notre Dame's defense is still pretty good, and then their offense sucks. So I think the game's gonna be low scoring, probably 21-17, something along those lines. And
46 is already so low for me. I'm just so nervous. I get so nervous about the over-unders, honestly.
Yeah, we rode with them last week, almost hit both. The other one, the Tennessee Oklahoma one, was fine. Like the whole game, I wasn't scared. But yeah, we're going with an under this week, so hopefully we hit that one at least.
Love it.
I like it.
All right.
Love it.
Who got their picks first?
Golly, dude.
We need one pick from Beej and 2 from Zach.
This is tough, man.
What have I said? Have I said anything yet?
No, you've said nothing.
In my head, I have said a lot.
Zach was texting us the other week. It was like, yeah, I picked that one on the bets.
Right.
No, you didn't.
I'll go.
Okay, well, I thought we did a week 0. But I remember, so in my bets, I
Zach's
picked Georgia
45-1
Tech.
right now.
I picked Georgia Tech to win against Florida State, and I was like, dude, that was a great bet. I bet on the pod, and they were like, we didn't even do a pod, and I was like, what? I think I had a dream. So.
Oh boy.
All right, Beej, what you got?
Dude, this is tough, man.
I'm gonna
go
Bama if you're so certain.
I am not certain. I'm gonna go Michigan -9 against Minnesota. Minnesota's run defense
can we go against
awful.
Can we go against SMU? or against Florida State. Pick SMU -5.
You can do whatever you want over there.
Yeah, dude. Do what you want.
I know I can do whatever I want, guys. I'm just nervous.
I'm going Michigan -9 against Minnesota. Minnesota's run defense is awful. Michigan's
do they
going to
play?
run for 350, 400 yards and play great defense against a bad Minnesota offense as well. So
I like that pick.
-9, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, nice.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go Oklahoma -1 or
Like
1.5 against Auburn. I think Oklahoma really I don't know why it scared people last week, what they saw from Oklahoma, but for me, it made me feel super comfortable that Oklahoma's a good team, especially when the backup quarterback came in. I think he did pretty well. So I'm not scared of that. And I think that Auburn's quarterback is pretty trash. It doesn't matter who you want to play. You can play Peyton Thorne or that Hank Brown kid. Both of them fucking suck. And they weren't playing difficult
Hank
defenses.
Brown's
You're playing
somehow
Arkansas's
worse.
defense.
Yeah.
Arkansas's defense is not very good. I'm going to just give you a little hint. It's not a good team. And you just got railed by them. 4 interceptions.
Yep.
Dude, this Oklahoma team's going to make you look dumb as shit.
Yeah, that's very true.
So that's why I think -1 is super nice, because even if Oklahoma can't score or can't sustain long drives, I think they're going to have really good field position by turnovers and making them punt the ball on their side of the field. So that's why I think the Oklahoma wins, because their defense. And then I like Illinois +18. I just think that's a lot of points. If Penn State proves me wrong, good. That's nice, but I just can't. I see that and I'm like, that's a ranked team that's been playing really well and just beat a Nebraska team who I think is actually a pretty good team. And you beat them in overtime.
And Rayola is better than Aller. Come on,
dude. Straight up, Rayola is better than Drew Aller. I don't know why people think that's a hard that's not. He's a freshman. I think he's better than him right now.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Let's go send Drew Aller to the NFL and see what happens. He's gonna go to fucking Denver and suck. So these are our best bets of the week, guys. I'm wrapping it up. This seems like it's gonna be a really fun week. Obviously, me and Brennan are gonna be watching the Georgia game together. Georgia and Alabama, sorry. We're gonna watch that game together. So
I guess the loser has to wear the other team's shit.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yep.
Oh, you nervy?
Yeah.
No, because you went to Georgia, dude. It don't matter to you. This shit don't matter to you.
You got to do the other team's chant.
Shit.
You got to do the other team's chant to start the podcast off.
I'll do that shit
next week.
Fuck. Ram or jam or yell or hammer. Who the hell are you or something?
All right, drift out. Out. We'll buy you headwear. Both of y'all headwear. It's either going to be a foam dog.
We got to be dripped out in Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
I'll give you this outfit
hat
I'm wearing right now.
Yes.
Better wash that shit. All right. I was about to say I'll talk to you later. No, so I'm gonna close out the podcast. It's been great, guys. We're gonna talk to you next week after everything and see who the week 5 woes are gonna be. So I'm excited. All right, guys. I'll see y'all.
See ya.